Hello students and welcome to lecture number 22 in our series of lectures on Java programming language. In today's lecture, we will be discussing the switch case. Now, switch case works exactly like if constructs, which means that they are also used for decision making. But again, there are a lot of differences between the two. I can use the if construct at all places for decision making. But the same cannot be said to be true for a switch case. I cannot use switch case at all places for decision making. What is the reason for that? Number one, if construct can be used for checking all types of relations, whether it is greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, not equal to. Whereas in switch case, you can check only for one condition, which is equality. It only checks if the values are equal, not any other relation can be checked. Secondly, if constructs work for all types of data types. It can be int values, float values, character values, string values, everything. But switch case only deals with two data types, that is integer or single character data types. So I cannot use switch case in place of if everywhere, but I can definitely use the if constructs in place of the switch case. Now let us first understand the syntax of the switch statement. So switch is generally used in menu based programs wherein you are showing the user a menu, and depending on what option he selects, you are performing that particular action. So in switch case, within the brackets we write down the name of the variable whose value has to be checked for. Then we have case statements. So these case statements correspond to each value of the variable that you are checking. So now what happens over here is that the variable value will be compared with the value that you have mentioned in case 1. If this value matches the value which is there in the variable, then the statements corresponding to that will be executed, and there has to be a break after every case. Now why is the break statement important? Because if you do not put break, then wherever there is a value match, following that every case statement will be executed. So suppose if there is a match at value 2, so starting from value 2 till the last case, the statements from all of them would be executed if there is no break. So break is a statement in Java which is causing your further checking to be stopped. If there is a match at value 1, then it will print the statements of value 1 and it will automatically stop further checking. So the control will directly come out of the switch case. Now suppose if value 1 did not match, it will check for value 2. If there is a match over here, then these statements would get executed and the break would cause it to come out of the switch case. Likewise, it will keep checking till we reach default. Now default is used for uh, the criteria wherein none of the above case statements have matched. If none of them have matched, then it finally comes to default. So default statement is always written at the end. You will never write it at the beginning because this is the last option. It's like the else option in your if else if. So if none of the above case values have matched, then whatever you have written in the default statement, that will get executed by default. So default will only be executed if none of the above case statements have matched. Okay, and following default there is no need for writing break, because any which ways that is the last statement after which the control will come out of the switch case. So after default we don't put a break. Now in this slide you are seeing a program which has been executed using if else if and switch case. So on one side we have if else if, and the other side we have the switch case. If you see if else if, so first of all you are checking if the score is equal to 5. Okay, so let's say there is a test whose results have come out, and depending on how much has been scored by a particular student, accordingly you are grading him. So if his score is 5, you are printing his grade as average. Else, if his score is 10, you are printing his grade as good. Else, if his score is 15, you are printing his grade as very good. And lastly, so if it is more than 15, you are printing his grade to be excellent. Now here the same thing now we are doing using the switch case. So switch, within brackets you are passing the score. The first value that we are comparing against is 5. So if the score is 5, it will print average and break. You stop further checking. Now the second is you will check if the score is 10, you print good and break. Case 15 means if the score is 15, print very good and break. Lastly, case 20. So if the score is 20, we print excellent and break. Now here I have mentioned default. So default is any other value except for 5, 10, 15 and 20. In that case, you are printing a message saying try again. Now let us execute this program on Notepad. So class, I'll call it as score. In the class you have void main. So public static void main, and we are passing a string variable. Since we are accepting the value from the user, we need to do the necessary conversion to integer value. So integer.parseInt, we are choosing the value from position 0 in the arguments array. Now we use the switch case, to which we pass the variable sc. The first case that we compare to is case 5. In case the value is 5, so system.out.println, I'll print my result as average, and break so that it does not do further checking. Same thing, case 10. So I will print the result as good, and again break. So notice after every case statement there are no brackets. The break statement depicts the end of that case. You can have more than one statements also written in each case statement. So very good, and break again. Case 20, we will be printing excellent. Break. And lastly we put default. In default you will simply say system.out.println try again. Let's save this program by the name of score.java. And let's compile it now on the command prompt. So first of all, you will enter the Java folder where we have saved our program. Next, set path. Is equal to, we will set the path to the JDK bin folder. So we copy this and we set the path. Now let's compile. So Java C score.java, no errors, and now we execute. So Java score, let's give the score as 10. We will see the output as good. If I give the score as 20, excellent. 25, try again. Now suppose over here, let's say I do not give the break statements. So I'll just comment them. Let's see what happens in that case. I'll recompile my code. Now suppose if I give the value as 10, as you can see, it matched good. So good, and after that all the values are printed. Very good, excellent, try again. So this is what happens if we don't write break. So break is very, very important. Likewise, you can also use it for matching single character values. So if you take the character at the first position from the string, here you will store it in a character variable. Instead of numbers, now you can check for alphabets. So suppose A, B, C and D. These are the 4 values. Now if we compile it again, and instead of this, now we'll put the character value, you will see the same output. So you can use it for integer values, or you may use it to compare character values. So in today's lecture, we have covered up switch case. In the next lecture, we will be doing more programs with if and switch case, little higher programs as to what we have seen up till now. Hope you have understood today's lecture. For more such in-depth learning, please subscribe to this channel, and for any queries you can write into the given email ID farida.musaddi@gmail.com. Thank you so much.